the most feared dictator in modern history, the man whose decisions helped plunge the world into war, Adolf Hitler. But before the speeches, before the crowds, and before the power, he had a very different dream. He wanted to become an artist, not a politician, not a soldier, not a dictator, an artist. He imagined a future filled with paintings and architecture. Instead, he faced rejection, twice. What followed was a journey through poverty, anger, war, and radical ideas. And from that journey emerged one of the most dangerous leaders the world has ever known. So how did a rejected artist become history's most feared dictator? This is the story of Adolf Hitler before power. April 20th, 1889, Braunau am Inn, a small, quiet border town in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That's where Adolf Hitler entered the world. His father, Alois Hitler, a government official, strict, controlling, the kind of man who left no room for a child's dreams. His mother, Clara, the opposite, warm, loving, tender. Young Hitler carried one great dream, to become an artist. But his father wanted none of it. You will become a civil servant. That is your future. That was his message. Conflict grew between them. The home became tense. The dream was buried alive. That clash was the first force that shaped his mind. His father died. Hitler thought, now it's my life, my dream. The Vienna Academy of Fine Arts. He applied for admission, rejected. He tried again in 1908, rejected again. Historians call that moment a turning point in Hitler's life. The years that followed were rough ones on the streets of Vienna. Shelters for the homeless, small postcards, rough sketches, sold for just enough to survive. It was during this time that certain ideas began to reach his ears: nationalism, governance, racial superiority. Those ideas quietly seeped into his mind and took root. 1914, World War I. Hitler enlisted in the German army. He served as a messenger, running through the front lines with his life on the line. He earned commendations for bravery. He was wounded. He kept going. He spoke of that war with passion. It was the greatest time of my life, he wrote later. But in 1918, Germany surrendered. Hitler wept in a hospital bed, temporarily blinded by a gas attack. He carried that moment for the rest of his life. He came to believe that Germany had been betrayed from within. That rage became the fuel of his politics. Post-war Germany was broken, the economy collapsed, hyperinflation, mass unemployment, a people desperate for a strong voice to point the finger. Hitler joined a small political group. He rose quickly, driven by one extraordinary weapon, his oratory. People listened, people ignited. That group became the Nazi Party. The beer hall putsch, a physical attempt to seize power. It failed. He was arrested. Inside prison. He did not stop. Mein Kampf, my struggle, his nationalist and racial ideology committed to paper. When he walked out of prison, he returned with a new strategy. Not violence, votes, public support, power through the people. That decision was the decision that changed the world forever. Adolf Hitler's story is a tree with deep roots, a wounded childhood, rejection, poverty, war trauma, economic collapse, the hunger for power. When every one of those forces tangled together, the world witnessed the most devastating catastrophe in history. But the real message of this story isn't about him. It's about the people. Unbearable economic pain, collapsing political systems, a leader armed with hate. This triangle can apply to any nation at any point in time. History isn't just a record of the past, it is a warning to the future. Subscribe to the channel and catch the next episode. We bring you the untold stories of history every single week.